YouTube, man, how you guys doing today? It is me again, your favorite Texas trucker. I'm still kicked back here in the back of my truck. We are still at Walcott, Iowa, and this is my third video. That's actually 2 3/4. One of those fingers is missing the end. Anyway, third video for today. So, the first video was kind of just an update and letting you know what I was planning to do in the future, where my videos were concerned. Second video was supposed to be about purchasing a truck. It ended up being more about lease purchase options, lease and lease purchase options, which was the first part of what I wanted to talk about buying a truck, because the whole idea is that you're getting into a truck, and there's multiple different ways that you can do that. All right, and in my last video I talked about how I was opposed to the lease purchase idea and some of the reasons why I was opposed to it, some of the negative aspects of it. With that being said, let me reiterate at the beginning of this video that that's my opinion, okay? Now, my opinion is based on my own personal research. It's not based upon my own personal experience, because I never bothered to go into a lease purchase. I almost went into a lease purchase. I almost did a lease purchase with CRST Malone, and I was on the verge of doing that when I decided to not do it, okay? And I decided to go ahead and take the route buying my own truck outright. Okay, and so it's just my opinion, and opinions in this industry are not really worth very much, honestly. Everybody's got one. Everybody thinks their opinion is the only opinion that matters, you know, and the bottom line is that whatever works for you in your business plan, which we're going to talk about business also, but whatever works for you in your business plan, as long as you go into it informed, and as long as you go into it understanding the cost, and as long as you go into it understanding what's going to be required of you, then you make whatever decision fits your business model, and neither me nor anybody else can ever say anything about it. One of the things that you can guarantee about me, and I've got friends that do the lease purchase, okay, so I'm not bashing it at all. Okay, without any shadow of doubt, I'm not bashing it. I've got friends that do lease purchase, and I've got friends that have been very successful doing lease purchase. All right, and when I meet up with them, when I talk to them, when I associate with them, I never see them. I don't see them. I don't treat them. I don't deal with them as if they are anything different than what I am. They're an owner operator. They may not technically own their truck, and until they complete the lease purchase, they have nothing invested in that truck. But nevertheless, as far as I'm concerned, because they have to live their life, they have to manage their business the same way I have to live my life, manage mine. As far as I'm concerned, they're as much of an owner operator as I am. You know, and not a lot of some owner operators won't agree with that. You know, they'll say, that you're not an owner operator unless you own your fucking truck. Leasing your truck doesn't make you an owner operator. It makes you a lease purchase operator. It makes you somebody that rented a job. And I do use the term renting a job sometimes. But nevertheless, I give those people the same amount of respect that I give to any other owner operator, which is essentially, honestly, I give the same amount of respect to owner operators that I give to company drivers, as long as they're not acting like a bunch of douches. So, it's all about respect out here, or at least I believe it is. And in my viewpoint, what I'm trying to do is educate people to make the most informed decision for whatever it is that they're wanting to do. If you want to remain a company driver, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, to be perfectly candid with you, there's a lot of people that honestly should never become owner operators. They don't have what it takes to do it. They're not saying anything bad about them. They're just not business minded. They'll run themselves into fucking bankruptcy. They don't know how to manage. They don't know how to manage a business. And if you don't know how to manage a business, you don't have any business trying to be a business operator. Stay a company driver. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a company driver and you're thinking about getting into your own truck, and you decide that you want to become an owner-operator and you want to give it a shot, then there's a couple of things that you need to know. Last video we talked about lease purchase and some of the downfalls with lease purchase. I didn't talk about many of the pros of lease purchase because I don't like them. You know, if you like the lease purchase option and you want to know what the pros are, you don't want to hear the negatives about it, then there's plenty of guys, LaShawn Parks, Rob, Chuck and Rob. You know, these guys work for Prime, okay, and we're on a page called YTTA, YouTube Truckers Alliance. There's the YouTube Truckers Alliance network, and then there's YouTube Truckers Alliance affiliates. And these guys, their purpose, one of their main purposes, is to inform people about things associated with trucking. And a lot of these guys are lease purchase operators, and so they talk about the pros of lease purchase. And if you want to know the pros of lease purchase, then go to them and go to the YTTA network and watch some of their videos, ask them questions, because they're the ones that have the hands-on experience. I don't have hands-on experience. I have experience based on my own personal research, and that could possibly be flawed. Okay, I know that I've learned enough about lease purchase to know that for me, it doesn't fit my business model. It doesn't fit my personality type. It's not the type of option that I want to take. It's not the type of option I want to do. So if it's something that interests you, then go to YTTA network, YTTA affiliates, join those pages, and let's pay attention to what these guys say, because a lot of these guys have got a lot of really good, insightful information on how to be successful as a lease purchase operator with their individual companies. Okay, YTTA network, YTTA affiliates, those are pages that I support. I support the YTTA movement, YouTube Truckers Alliance, and I do support it, and so I suggest, to those of you that are interested, that may watch my videos, that may be interested in getting into a lease purchase, and you don't have thousands of dollars to throw down on a truck, to definitely give it a shot. Go there and check it out, listen, see what they have to say. With that being said, I do stand in opposition of lease purchase programs. So let's leave all that aside, because I don't want to waste a whole lot of more time talking about lease purchase. It's not something that I really support. It's not something that I really like, and it's not something I want to spend a whole lot of time on. Let's talk about going out there and buying your truck. Okay, when you go out there and you can buy and you decide that you're going to buy a truck, one of the questions that I'm asked the most is, how much money do I need? And it's a difficult question to answer. I don't know that I can do justice to it, because how much money you're going to need is going to be dependent on a lot of variables. It's dependent upon how old of the truck that you want to purchase. It's dependent upon whether or not you're going to purchase a truck from an individual person, or whether you're going to purchase it from a dealership. It's dependent upon what your credit score looks like. If your credit score is really low, then the interest rate on your loan is typically going to be very high. If your credit score is really high, then your interest rate may be very low, and the interest rate, more than anything else, is going to have an impact on how much money that you need. How much money you need is also going to be impacted by the age of the truck, because, and we're going to get into this here in a little bit, but the older the truck, the more immediate mechanical problems that you're going to have with it. All right, and so you need to have not just money set aside for the purchase of the truck, but also money set aside for the maintenance of the truck, or your ass is going to be in a bad situation. So let's talk about let's just knock the easy one out of the way, and that's buying a new truck. Chances are pretty good, if you're having to watch this video to learn about buying a truck, that you don't have the money or the credit to go and buy a new truck. Bottom line. And that's not always true, because I have made friends with some people that have a hell of a lot more money than they have sense. And I've known a couple people that have just walked out and bought 2 trucks, You go figure. I can't do it. I couldn't do it when I bought my truck. So if you're going to buy a new truck, I can't tell you what brand to buy or what brand's best, because it's all dependent upon, a lot of that's dependent upon your preference. If you want high fuel mileage, then you go for one particular truck. If you want high power, you go for another particular truck. If you want, performance, you may go for a different type of truck. If you want something that's not going to fall apart in 6 months, then you might go for something else. It all depends on what you're looking for. And it's pretty straightforward with a new truck. Buying a new truck, same as buying a new car. Typically, they're going to want 20 to 30% down, and that's whether you buy a new truck or whether you buy an old truck. It doesn't really matter. They're going to want 20 to 30% down. $100,000 truck, you're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 down. All right, that's what they're going to want for it. $150,000 truck, you're making me do math. So anyway, the bottom line is 20 to 30% down is the general approved figure. Okay. And that's what you should be planning on. All right. Chances are pretty good that you're not going to go out and buy a brand new truck. All right. But if you do go out and buy a new truck, a brand new truck, then the advantage that you have is that the entire truck is under warranty. And so anything that goes wrong with the truck for the first 3-4 years is going to be covered. You can probably get an extended warranty and bring that out to about 5 years and increase the amount of miles that they cover. I don't know what the warranty, how many miles the warranty covers on big trucks. I think it's somewhere around 450,000, 500,000 miles, somewhere right around there, over a 5-year period. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage is that it's fucking expensive, all right? And so you right off the bat, you're looking at probably putting $30,000-$40,000 down on the damn thing, and that's if you have good credit. And if you don't have good credit, then you're looking at maybe $50,000 having to put down on it, and then on top of that, having a really expensive payments that you have to make on it. So we're not really talking about in this video. The whole purpose of this video is not really about buying a new truck. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. You go down to whatever your flavor is. You go down to International. You go down to Kenworth. Go down to Peterbilt. Volvo, whatever your flavor is. You go down there, you talk to a salesman, you get approved for credit, you buy the damn truck. It's brand new, so there's nothing really to go over, Now let's talk about buying a used truck, okay? There's 3 essential ways that you can buy a used truck. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but there's 3 essential ways that you can buy a used truck. First is you can buy the used truck from an individual. All right. Second, you can buy a used truck from a used truck dealer, and third, you can buy a used truck from a dealership, a major dealership like Kenworth, Peterbilt, Volvo, Mack, so on and so forth. There's another option out there, and that is that you can buy a truck from one of these big companies. TMC is always selling off their Peterbilts. Right now, Schneider is selling off a bunch of Century class trucks. And from what I understand, they're getting a pretty good price on them. Triple C, the company that I drive for, has bought some of these trucks, and they are selling them to potential drivers that want to come on and work for Triple C. They're gliders. I want to say they're 2007. I could be wrong. Fuck, I don't know the year of them. We just did it the other day, so I don't know a whole lot of details on it. So these are different places that you can go to buy the truck. All right. If you go to buy the truck from Schneider or TMC or any of these other major companies, then you're going to have financing in place. So again, financing is going to be dependent upon I don't think, and don't quote me on this because I don't really know, but I don't think that TMC, Schneider, and all them are going to finance you. I think that you have to go through an independent finance. They may be able to lead you towards somebody that will finance you, but I don't think that they have anything to do with financing. So you have to get financing from an independent third party, which is a bank, credit union, or whatnot. Okay. If you are planning to buy a truck in the future and you don't have great credit and you don't have a lot of money, okay, let me suggest to you that you join a credit union. And you have good credit unions, you have bad credit unions, just like you have good and bad in anything. In my area, Fort Worth Credit Union sucks. They're going to fuck you around. They're not a good credit union. But EECU, I think is the name of it, EECU is a really good credit union. And that's the one I'm fixing to join here in a little while. Credit unions are a lot easier to get loans from, okay? But you have to be there for a little while. You don't just join the credit union and boom, you get a loan. You got to be there for a while. With ECU, you have to be there for 2 years before you can get a business loan. So if you're watching this and you have in your mind that you may want to purchase a truck in the nearby future, and then join a credit union. And before you just go and join any credit union, don't just drive down the street and be like, oh wow, there's a credit union, I'm gonna go join it. Learn something about the credit union. Do a little bit of research on the credit unions in your area and find out which ones are the best, which ones have the best loan options, which ones have lowest interest rates, and what the benefits are to each one of them. You'll find that a credit union is generally a lot easier to get a loan from and a lot easier to work with than a bank. Okay, so I suggest that you join a credit union, and don't just join the credit union. Open up an account there and use the account. Let them see money coming in, money going out. Let them see that you're regular with this, and then within just a matter of weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, then you'll be approved for a credit line, and you'll be able to go in there and get a loan, right? And maybe once you've been there for a couple of years, you go in there and you get a fairly substantial business loan. When I say a fairly substantial business loan, I'm talking $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. So that may be your first step and your first plan towards buying a truck. Go in there and do that. All right. Second is once you've decided you're going to go out there and buy a truck, you need to decide who you're going to buy it from. All right. One of the advantages to buying it from a major dealer, like for instance, let's say I want to buy a Kenworth T600, an older Kenworth T600. One of the advantages of going to, say, Kenworth to buy it is that Kenworth doesn't just take trucks in, throw them on the lot and sell them. They take trucks in, they go over those trucks from front to back, okay, and they do a lot of repair work on those trucks in preparation for selling them. So the chances of you getting a truck that's mechanically sound from Kenworth is a lot higher than you getting that same T600 from say Joe Blow's truck sales, down the road, because Joe Blow is going to go out and he's going to buy this truck from whoever the hell he fucking buys the truck from, and he's going to park it on his lot, and he's probably not ever even going to look at the damn thing. You're going to walk in there 4, 5, 6 months later, and you're going to buy a truck that's been sitting there in the same spot for 4, 5, 6 months, that's never had anybody look at it mechanically, and may have had problems with it when whoever Joe Blow bought the truck from, sold it to him. And so buying it from a major dealer is a safer option when you're talking about the mechanical problems that you may have with the truck. Here's the disadvantage of that, and that's that you're going to pay a premium price for that truck. So let's say that I go out and I buy a 1997 Kenworth T600, which, by the way, is what I've got right here. It's a 1997 Kenworth T600. All right, let's say that I go out and I buy this Kenworth from Joe Blow. All right, Joe Blow's truck sales down the road. I go down there to Joe Blow's truck sales down the road. The price on this truck, $17,500. By the way, $17,500 was the price on my truck when I bought it. All right, so $17,500, I buy it from Joe Blow's auto sales, but Joe Blow hasn't done any maintenance work on the truck. And so this truck's going to cost me maintenance over the first couple of years. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, but if I was to go down to Kenworth and buy this exact same 1997 T600 from Kenworth, then the price of this truck may be $29,000, $30,000. But $29,000, $30,000 comes with Kenworth going over this truck from front to back, fixing everything that they find wrong with it before they put it up for sale. So am I still going to have problems with the truck? More than likely, yes, because it's a used truck. And used trucks, when they sit for a little while and then you take them out and you push them hard, shit tends to break. So yeah, I'm still going to have problems on it. Will I have as many problems with it as I have if I bought the same truck from Joe Blow's truck sales? Chances are pretty good that the answer to that would be no. So I pay more for the truck on the surface, but I pay less for the truck in maintenance over the first couple of years. So what you have to do is you have to understand when you go to buy a used truck that in the first year to 2 years, your maintenance is going to be very heavy on that truck. You're going to be having to make a lot of repairs on it. So you have to balance. You have to look at it and you have to say, do I want to pay $29,000 for a truck that I'm going to have less problems with, but I have to make higher weekly payments on? or do I want to buy a $17,500 truck that I can pay lower weekly payments on but have higher maintenance costs on? And obviously we know what choice I made. Okay, I decided to go with a truck that was going to have more maintenance problems but a lower weekly cost. Okay, and that's the decision that I personally made. And so you have to make that decision. Now let's just say, for instance, and you need to do this test regardless where you buy the truck. Let's just say, for instance, that you decide that you're going to buy the truck from Joe Blow's Auto Sales. And I'm fucking running out of time again. But say you're going to buy it from Joe Blow's Auto Sales. Take the truck out and run it. You need to take it for a test drive. If they won't let you take the truck on a test drive, don't buy it. Don't even consider buying it. Go somewhere else. Most of the time, when I took my truck out for a test drive, he didn't even want to come with me. He was just like, yeah, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it out on a test drive. Take it out on a test drive. This is what you want to do. You want to take it out for about 30, 40 minutes. You want to take it out, you want to push 30, 40, 50 miles on it. I'm going to tell you why. All right, but first I'm going to tell you what you do. Once you get out there, you want to run the RPMs up. You want to get the RPMs up to the high range, okay? So let's say that the engine has a running range of, let's say, 1,400 to 1,700 RPMs. You want to run it at around the 1,700 RPM mark the entire time that you have it out, or as much as possible during that time that you have it out. In other words, you want to push the truck. You want to simulate the truck being under a heavy load. You want to put the engine under a heavy load. All right, you want the engine to work. You want it to push. You want to listen for it. Turn the air conditioner down, roll your windows down. You want to listen for ticks. You want to listen for sounds. You want to listen for problems. It's not under a load. You're not hauling a trailer. So some of these things you're not going to find until you put a trailer on it, until you put a load on it. But you want to push the engine as hard as you can for about 30, 40 minutes. All right, bring it back. And put it in the lot somewhere. And then lay down underneath of it and look at it. Don't get underneath of it with the engine running, but lay down underneath of it and look at the bottom of the engine. You want to look for any kind of leaks, all right? Any kind of fast drips, anything that's pooling on the ground. That's what you want to look for. Second, while you're down there, look at the blow-by. All right, you want to see if you've got steam coming out of your blow-by tube, and you want to see if there's any liquid coming out of your blow-by tube. Okay. If there's no steam or you can't see anything coming out of your blow-by tube, that's a problem. The older trucks will always have some kind of blow-by, and one of the tricks that used truck companies do is they'll block the blow-by tube so that you can't see the blow-by coming out of it, which means there won't be anything coming out. And that's a problem. It can cause engine damage. But that's one of the things that they'll do in order to hide problems that the engine's got. Second thing that you want to do is you want to do a full inspection of the vehicle. But second thing you want to do is you want to turn the engine off. All right, when you turn the engine off, you chock your wheels, climb up underneath of it, or crawl up underneath of it, and you want to look at the bottom of the engine. These guys at these used car places, they power wash these engines, okay? And so when you come in there and you look at it, it's nice, clean. It looks like it's in perfect mint condition. All right, and one of the reasons why you're wanting to put the engine under a load, why you want to run the RPMs up high, is because it's going to cause leaks to occur if there are leaks existent. Some of these leaks are seeping, and so they'll have thoroughly cleaned this engine. There won't be any leaks on this engine when you look at it. But after you've run it for 34 minutes at a high RPM, you can crawl up underneath of it, and you can look at it, and you can start seeing where it's seeping oil at. And you want to find those places because those can be indicators of major issues down the road. Okay, and then during your inspection, you want to look at specifically pay attention to wheel seals. See if you can find a way to jack it up. If they'll jack it up for you so you can check your kingpins. Check your kingpins, you jack it up. You grab the tire and you push it in, you pull it out, you push it in and pull it out. There shouldn't be hardly any movement. If you've got movement, if it's knocking back and forth when you move it, then you've got bad kingpins. And you need to consider that because that can be a fairly expensive fix. Same thing with your tie rod ends. With your tie rod ends and your drag links, you can grab a hold of it with a wrench, or not a wrench, but a set of pliers or channel locks and try to turn them. There should be just a slight amount of movement. Shouldn't be very much. If you have a lot of movement, sloppy movement, then you've got bad tie rod ends and bad kingpins. I mean, not bad kingpins, but bad drag links, and those are issues. Same thing with your steering column. You want to check your steering column to see if you got any slop or any slack in your steering column. Right? You want to check for blown wheel seals. You want to check for check your air lines while you've got it off. You've got it charged up while you've got it off. You want to go back and you want to look for air leaks. Find air leaks in the truck, because these are problems that are going to show up when you buy the truck and you get it under a load and you're out here on the road and you're stuck on the side of the road some fucking where because you didn't look at it to begin with, and then you end up paying $3,000 or $4,000 for a truck. $3,000 or $4,000 for repairs on a truck. These are all issues that you need to be aware of. When you look at fuel lines, look at your fuel lines and look for any cracking or flaking on your fuel lines. A lot of these older trucks, their fuel lines are beginning to decompose on the inside, and they need to be replaced. And a lot of that can be seen from the outside. If you take your fuel lines and you bend them, not your steel ones, but your rubber lines, and you bend them, it'll show cracks all along the fuel line. If it does that, the fuel lines need to be replaced. Replacing fuel lines, you're looking at about $400 in just materials. Now, $400 to $600 in just materials. Right? And that's not even including the labor cost associated with it. Right? And so those are things that you want to look for. You want to pull the air filter. Right? Pull the air filter on the truck and look at it. If you got a black air filter, they don't make the guy change the air filter. Make him change it as part of you buying the truck. Don't buy the truck if it's got a bad air filter. If it's got a bad air filter, it probably hasn't had a oil change either, which means that the first thing that you're going to want to do is take an oil sample out of the truck and do an oil change on it. So, oil change is going to cost you, depending on the engine of the truck, it's going to cost you quite a bit. And so these are things that you want to look for. Obvious mechanical problems, but you want to go deep into the truck. It's not just a typical pre-trip. What you're looking for is not immediate problems, but signs of future problems. Okay, so you want to look at your fan belts. Look at your fan belts and look for any cracking. Look for any fraying on your fan belts. Fan belts aren't real expensive. Replacing them can be a pain in the ass, but they're not real expensive. Look at your wiring harness, where it's coming out of your alternator, out of your starter, out of your air conditioner. Look at where it's coming out from your lights. Look at where it's coming out from your turn signals. Of course, you want to make sure all that stuff works, but look at where it's coming out of there and look to see how many times the wiring has been spliced. Look to see if it's an original harness, or look to see if it's got a bunch of electrical tape all over it. If it's got a bunch of electrical tape all over it, that can be an indicator of wiring issues with the truck. Right? And those are things that you want to pay attention to when you talk about the purchase price of the truck. It's not a deal breaker, but it is things that you definitely want to pay attention to. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I want to get through this. I want to get through this fairly quick, and then we're going to do another video on some of the things that you're going to run into after you buy the truck. So you want to go over this truck with a fine-tooth comb. Look at your tires. Alright, so on the tires, you want to look for any cracking on the sidewalls. You want to look for any separation on the tread, or any what looks like maybe beginning separation on the tread. Chances are fairly good that when you buy the truck, it's going to have retreads on it. If it's got retreads on it, chances are pretty good you're going to be $3,000 in the hole here in a couple weeks, because you're going to have to replace all that shit, because the truck's probably been sitting for 6 months to a year before somebody decided to buy it. And when you get that truck up to speed on the road, it's going to start throwing retreads, and you're going to have to buy retreads. So if it's got retreads on it, try to convince them to put virgin tires on it. Even if they're not new virgin tires, try to convince them to put virgin tires on it. It'll buy you a little bit of time before you have to replace tires. These are some of the things that you have to look for. We're going to talk. I'm going to go ahead and end this video because I'm coming up on 30 minutes, and I try to keep all my videos under 30 minutes. We're going to do another video, part 3 of buying your own truck. All right, and in this video, we're going to talk about different types of engines, different types of costs associated with the engines, why I decided to buy an older truck, but instead of buying a newer truck, and we're going to talk about some of the problems that you're going to run into when you get the truck that you've purchased on the road. Okay, so let me cut this video off, and thanks for watching. Please comment, share, post, and all that good stuff, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace out.